pretty one first?
Yeah, take the pretty one. Not the ugly duckling.
Okay. So
Do the metal ring.
Darvik first. Yeah.
Do the metal, the Darvik, the wing, and the weight.
Yeah.
Happy with that?
No problem.
Right.
Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to put this BTO ring on, which has got a unique serial number, and it's also got the address for the BTO, the museum. So if anybody finds this bird, they can send that ring back, and once it's recovered, then they can get the information back to us as to where it's been recovered, and also for the finder to find out actually where it came from and how old it was and where it was rung. That's on one leg. On the other leg, we're going to fit a Darvik ring, which this year again is blue background with white letters, and that helps to identify the birds for people that's either digiscoping or using telescopes, etc. They can't read the number of the metal ring, but at least they can read the letters on that from a bigger distance. So we get a lot of returns back from sort of Gambia, etc., for people actually photographing these birds, and they can then send them information back here, and we can give them information back as to not the actual nest site location, but the area where it was rung, when it was rung, the year it was rung. So it's really valuable information. Another thing that we're doing with Osprey is fitting these GPS, these satellite tags, and that's been going on for about 4 or 5 years now, and that's really great to show what routes these birds are taking back for migration back to West Africa, because not all birds are going in the same direction. Some seem to keep to the coast and the sort of the west, and then jump across and then travel around the Bay of Biscay or straight across, while others like a more shorter route, and it goes basically straight across. So it's quite interesting, what routes these birds are flying and why, and it'll give us good information in the future as to birds from a certain locality, if they're following a certain pattern, a certain route back, as opposed to the birds further north, or the birds down in England, down Rutland or Wales. So it's really interesting stuff for the future. So these birds, Osprey has been kicking about from the mid-2000s in this locality. We're fortunate enough to have the 3rd season here for these birds. So this is the 6th chick that'll be fledged from this site, hopefully. And I think it can only go from strength to strength at Dumfries and Galloway. The more platforms that we put up, the more chance there is of pulling in all these spare birds that's passing through, either going further north or into this locality. They'll see a spare platform. There's a lot of spare birds, and what we find is that these birds settle quite quickly onto a platform. They're not always breeding the first year. They might make a little bit addition to the nest site that we make. They might even lay eggs and try a little bit of incubation, but quite often they're not successful the first season. But hopefully the next year when they come back, they'll do the business and actually fledge chicks from that site. So it's looking really positive for this area now. So you want to put the metal ring on, Ronnie?
Yep, that's fine.
I quite often find that the birds are a lot calmer, when the two are actually ringing the birds.
It's a lot easier with a bird like that.
One person holding the feet and keeping the bird nice and calm, and the other one just doing actual ringing.
Just dip it under, so there's no. It's fine.
That's good.
Can you specifically put the Darvik or the metal ring on different legs?
Yeah. If we put the Darvik ring on, say, the left leg, as we're doing now, in the future, if we have the same colour pattern with blue with white letters, we can then put it to the right leg, and that'll indicate a different year. So we know roughly what year these birds have been rung. But we've been using the blue and white ones for a couple of years now, So we're due a change of colours to designate the year that they actually fledge.
Okay, let's put this Darvic on.
It's quite important, you know, getting the letters right, Ronnie, because when you read it like that, when the bird's standing up or in flight with its legs behind, you can quite clearly see the letters Z, Y. If you put it the opposite way, you know, people's thinking, is it Y, Z, or is it back to front? And we've had that, you know, 1 or 2 times. So much easier to see. So just put a spot of glue on it.
Yeah, the sellotape's just behind you, I think.
You know, put the glue on first, and I'll get it.
There we go.
Okay. It's just a spot of glue, and that just keeps it in place, and a little bit of sellotape, Ronnie, to put on, and that just keeps it in place while the glue sets. And of course, you know, the sellotape comes off once the bird's feet go into water, and the sellotape comes off pretty quickly once it's been immersed 1 or 2 times.
There we go.
That looks good. Good. It's quite amazing when you look at their feet. You know how they've got 2 toes pointing forward and 2 toes pointing back, and really rough, scaly feet on the inside for gripping the fish. So it really only needs one of these talons to hook a fish. And because there's 2 forward pointing toes and 2 pointing backwards, when they get the fish, you know, they're always taking it sort of with the fish pointing forward, so it's nice and streamlined,
Yeah.
and there isn't any drag on the fish for them carrying back to the nest site. So we'll just pop it in the bag and take a weight. Come on. Okay. Don't forget to take the 100 grams off for the bag.
That's fine.
You're probably looking at anything above 1600 grams and above. It'll definitely be a female.
1610.
It's got quite chunky, fat legs,
Yeah,
that one.
yeah,
So
it really has, aye.
yeah, it's typical female. But the thing is with these birds as well, I mean, a lot of these birds are as big as the adults, if not bigger, but they will lose that extra bit of weight, you know, when once they start fledging properly and flying, and their legs will just slim down that little bit as well. Just a bit like, you know, going to the gym, really. There you go. Yeah, take a wing length. Just take a wing length, Ronnie. There you go.
Give me that one there.
Want that one? Smooth in fellas a little bit. Yeah.
360 now.
So, you know, it's really good that, you know, with the work that's been done on ospreys before, where, you know, looking at the weights and the wing length and looking at the graphs, you can see which should be a female and which should be definitely a male.
There we go.